Remember how I was talking about house ruling games in the previous video? Bam, a link up there. I really don't like how Scythe doesn't lean more into its mechs. I also think games are too rigid, too unbalanced, too similar to one another, and end way too quickly without nearly enough fights. Not that the game even encourages that much fighting anyways. I've got some problems with Scythe, and sure, I could just play other board games, but goddamn do I love the mechs, minis, and art, all of which I could totally just spend all day just staring at. That makes me want to play Scythe and let the aesthetics come to life, but the gameplay makes me go so I'm gonna do something about it. Introducing Shelfside's Cowabunga House Rules for Scythe.
Cowabunga!
With these rules, we're gonna make Scythe an action-packed mech murder fest full of explosions and balance fixes. All of this with only 3 simple rule changes. Rule number 1. Rivers don't exist anymore. I hate rivers. They're like putting speed bumps on a highway, which, goddamn, that works well at constraining your movement. But Daniel, what about Riverwalk mechs? They're useless now. Fuck it, everyone starts the game with the Riverwalk mech deployed. But what about Nordic? They don't have an ability anymore. I couldn't think of anything. I don't know, just give them 2 free upgrades at the start of the game. Fuck it. Rule number 2. 10 stars to end the game, but everyone is Saxony. This is exactly what it sounds like, and yes, it is hilarious. You see the star track? You know how every time you would normally get a star, you place it on the track for the thing that you did? We're not doing that. Instead, take only 1 star and just move it up the track whenever you accomplish a star thing. And remember, everyone has Saxony's old ability now, so feel free to get a star from fighting as much as you want. Plus, you know, both of your secret objectives have just won. But then what about Saxony? They don't have an ability anymore. Well, then their new ability is whenever they win a combat, they draw an objective card, so don't worry, they're still super aggressive assholes. Rule number 3, I now have 5 useless stars left over. What the fuck? I really like encounter cards. They really spice up the gameplay. I want more of them. Normally, you remove the encounter token after resolving it, but now you just put one of your 5 leftover stars there. The stars aren't points or anything. This is just to indicate only you can't do that encounter anymore. Everyone else can still come in, do the encounter, put a star there too. So yeah, you get up to 5 encounters now. It's pretty cool. These are all just ideas. And what are ideas without some good old-fashioned praxis? So let's see if they're really stupid or not. We're gonna test out these rules and see if they hold up to actual gameplay. Who knows what I've just done to this fucking game? I have a weird feeling this is actually gonna end up playing more like TI4 in a like bizarre way.
I'm okay with that.
You can kind of go anywhere now, and then there's just the middle, and then you all these random fucking these are wormholes, right? Yeah. All right, here's your secret objectives.
Wait, what are exactly the rule changes again?
Rule number 1: rivers do not exist anymore. Fuck rivers.
Okay.
Saxy's new ability is whenever they win a fight, they draw a new objective card.
Okay.
That's sick.
Every time you get one of these done, you just move up like it's a trap.
Oh,
All right.
that's smart.
So how do you mark which ones you've done already?
You just know, because like you can't get 8 cards.
Oh,
Four
okay.
max.
You just got- okay.
Like all of these, except for power and popularity, are ones that like need. Like these 2 are the only ones that need marking. I'd imagine you're not hitting them this game.
Okay.
Like, everything else, 6 upgrades, 4 max, 4 buildings, 4 enlists, 8 workers. You can just see you've done that.
And so we played a game of Jank House Ruled Scythe. We fought long and hard with many an opportunistic battle, but eventually Daniel prevailed at like 80-something points. Ashton and Pranav were around 30, and Jack 40. God fucking damn it, the game was still too Euro-y.
Boom! We just played our first game of these hilarious Scythe house rules, and here I have Ashton to relay his thoughts to us. First impressions. All right, what's the strongest thing to stand out to you about that session of that? I don't even know what that was, game of Scythe.
Not really that much more fun.
What were your things you found out were like, oh no, this is not good?
Okay, well the expansion factions, one of which I played, definitely were sorely lacking because of the lack of +1 movement.
I thought they would be better because they're pretty good at fighting, and in this mode there's more fighting. So I was like, oh, if it's like a little bit, I guess, slower because you have to play to 10 stars, then they have more opportunity to use other cool, dumb, like super strong actual fighting abilities. But kind of just turns out without movement, that doesn't really matter because you can't get into the place you're trying to be, right? Like,
Yeah, so this right here, the factory, that is super important because you need the other card that gives you the movement option.
No, yeah. So first and second place, which were me and Jack, we both got to the factory like pretty early, and you can immediately tell, oh my god, it gives such a huge advantage just positioning and just being where we need to be, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you ever hit the factory, right? That's
did.
so bad, right? Like,
Yeah, so when we first started the game, I got dealt the expansion I picked the expansion faction. I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then I picked the bottom board randomly, and I'm like, oh, I picked a bad bottom board. I think I'm gonna lose. And my prediction was correct. You're just behind. Like, even if you change how combat works, the game is so closely tied to the bottom board still that you can't really escape its constrictions.
This house rule basically made me realize 3 very core things. Those action boards are so rigid. They're so stuck in just those power levels. Like, you just can't really change too much about that without fundamentally changing something really big about Scythe. Number 2, secret objectives. The balance of that was, oh my god, awful. When I was playing as Saxony, I drew a bunch of objectives that were piss easy. I got like 4 objectives done because most of them were just like, oh, like, yeah, I don't know, just go into the factory and have like a mech, or like, oh, I don't know, just have like control 3 forests, control 3 tundras, control 3 of them are so easy. Oh my god, especially when you have speed. I can't even imagine how annoying those must be if you're playing an expansion faction, you don't have speed. Like, what? Yeah, the third thing was, fundamentally the combat, we've also realized it's not really designed to be spamming combats a lot. Like, it's very much made in place with the, get 2 combats per game, because when we were playing this, right, a lot of combats did happen, but it's not really that engaging when your combats kind of boil down to like, on my turn I bolster, then I move, and I bolster, then I move, right?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
If I wanted to change up the game even more than that, we're gonna need to, do some fundamental changes, not some just like slight, like, oh, 10 stars, no rivers. But actually, no rivers is cool as fuck. I like that a lot. That was like probably the only thing out of the house was I'd say, like, to me felt the most like, this is good, yeah. It turns out in a game with a lot of fighting, I don't know, like, maybe not a lot, but like more fighting, right? So example, like Twilight Imperium 4 or Root, dice rolling works really well for when you want to just fight a lot.
The moment you tie it to this thing, by the way, no one ever hit past 7 on here.
I want to say I got to like 8 or 9, but
can you see that?
I'm pretty sure I got to like 8 or 9 at some point, but I didn't stay there that way for long. And that was purely just because of enlisting, which enlisting, as always, busted mechanic.
It's actually busted. Yeah, it is so busted.
The difference between me enlisting on like turn like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 as Saxony, just because I got it randomly off like an encounter, versus I think, like Ashton and like Pranav, like, I don't think you guys really enlisted until like mid-game, right?
That was not good. If you enlist for mechs, I think that is just auto, that's the thing to do. Like, why would you not do it? Because everyone is putting all their mechs down because combat is such a thing.
I think in base game, right, normally you enlist for enlist because everyone's just spamming enlist.
Okay. So that's a good one. Yeah, because you want to enlist mechs because the people next to you are probably going to play at least 1 or 2 mechs because of the +1 movement. That's so key. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then usually it's +1 movement, the other one gives you some type of combat bonus, which you want. Yeah.
Enlisting is, also the fact that, I don't think it's got mentioned in our review, but the fact that enlisting activates off yourself too, is just like, it gives you so many resources. Like, it's utterly insane how much better enlisting is versus like everything else. Like, why even build, just enlist?
It was also just really annoying to keep track of. It's like, oh wait, did you do your thing? I
mean, I was talking about side, not even the house rules. Okay, back to the house rules. Okay.
So the combat cards, I felt there was a very unhealthy relationship because people just kept hoarding them, right? Because you're only using 1, maybe 2 cards per combat. If you lose a combat, you just get a new one.
Yep.
So your hand is just always basically the same size.
Yeah, I felt like when I was fighting, it's like, it felt very unengaging at a certain point, because it's like, well, I don't have to worry about combat cards as a resource. I always have like 4s in my hand at any given time. At that point, it's like, okay, if everyone else has like a hand of like 5 or 6 combat cards, all I need to really do is stare at their powers. Like, wow, fighting is so determined. I just walk and be like, I know I win this one. Oh, I know I lose this one. Whoa, there's like no suspense to it at all.
Yeah, there's no suspense at all. Yeah.
Because of that, I have some random ideas in my brain for further modifications. Combat cards, as we've clearly seen, make the fighting a little too, I win. And doing that over the course of 10 stars is a little absurd. So I was really racking my brain for ideas, thinking about, okay, how do we address, if we really wanted to turn Scythe more into an actual fighty thing that works well. Here's the dumb idea I had. Okay, what if instead of a combat card hand, all right, when you get combat cards, you just get like a deck with them. You can't see the cards you have. You just flip them over as you play.
Oh, kind of like Civ, huh?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, but that changed so much of the game. I'd rather the combat be like some type of dice roll, like plus combat cards. I think that would add more intensity.
Plus combat cards. Oh.
Yeah. Which obviously.
Wait! I have a genius idea then. All right.
Okay.
You keep the combat hand. All right. But now when you fight. Okay, we're gonna throw in Sons of Anarchy here, like now, okay? So you play your combat card, all right, and then after everyone reveals, then each player flips a card from the combat deck, like for each mech they have, okay? And then you add that all together. So there's some RNG thrown in there too,
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? Yeah,
okay.
We're on to something.
Something really hit me though, your faction, the black one, Barony.
Saxony
is actually just busted.
Yeah, that was like not okay. Secret objectives are super unbalanced in this game. It is absurd.
I mean, this is your second point, right? But they're so unbalanced. The both of mine that I drew was like undoable.
Yeah, mine was like so dumb in that I got like easy ones and I drew into more easy ones. How about this is insane. Everyone at the start of the game, all right, we'll turn this into TI4. Everyone draws 2 objective cards. Okay. Everyone picks one. You put it somewhere next to the board. Those are public objectives.
I see.
Yeah.
But when would you achieve them? At the end of your turn?
Whenever the same thing with normal objectives. Like if you can get them done, you just do them, right?
Oh.
All right. Okay. But then now that they're public, people can see. It's like, oh, I see how you're moving. Yo, buddy, let's not let you get on those tundras, huh? Yeah. Whoa.
That's definitely better. Yeah. That's a lot better. I don't know how much different we're making it. This is a Scythe 3.0 or whatever.
We gotta keep refining this, all right? I refuse to sell this game. I'm gonna make it cool, okay?
The components are great.
Yeah, right? I love these mechs. I can't get rid of them.
I feel like they should have a ranged attack. Look at all those guns on them. All right, anyways, one more actually important point.
Okay.
The trade got really wonky.
For context, me and Pranav were trying to trade by literally dropping our resources on the ground for each other.
Right? Because at some point, I think you and Pranav were trying to trade, and you realize, wait, it's just faster for me to grow it myself. And then also trading gets really wonky because resources are worth points at the end of the game. And then you're like, oh, I want to trade with you so you can attack someone else. No, because by letting you attack someone else, that's giving you a point. So why would I want you attacking someone else?
Yeah, it turns out the game is so like just anti-politics built into it. It's like, wow. If I go and move and pick up your stuff, like unless the bottom action of my move is already using the resources I'm moving onto your space for, it's just faster for me to just produce by myself.
Also, popularity. Do you think that got lessened? Because only one person, which is you, hit 7 or 8?
I think popularity actually, funnily enough, remains probably the same as how it ends up being in base game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because at least what ended up happening with me is you don't care about popularity that much in the beginning, because like whatever, like I just lose out. And then later on, after I'm done doing online lists for like actual resources, then I got the enlist for popularity. And then it's just like, oh, it just went back up and now it's at like 7 or 8 now. Like enlisting is dumb.
Yeah.
Oh my
enlisting is dumb. Yeah. Because from my point of view, I always wanted to go for power instead of popularity in terms of the actions. Because that
just makes sense, yeah.
Because like you're actually rushing the end game by getting power. This is actually not like doing that much for you because you're getting attacked. I don't want to
popularity was a very like win more thing. Because like for me, it's like I actually managed to hit tier 2 in this insanity game where like I was constant. Like I kid you not, there's probably a fight like every round. It was absurdly like hilarious.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
I mean, towards the end, I was still able to just isolate fights on places that didn't have workers. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep winning my fights and still not lose popularity.
I've honestly seen more fights here than in some games of TI4. Obviously, the fights weren't as epic and as big, but more iterations happened. Maybe you'd have to house rule something with this Mechs Rex factory thing here. Maybe there's something to play around it.
In what way do you mean?
Maybe there's some type of
like, are you saying like getting like a star for holding it or something like that?
Yeah, because I know like TI4, right? There's always something involving Mechs Rex.
I think I'd rather just make it so as long as you're holding the factory, you just have a star, you know, and then you just lose that someone moves off.
Oh, okay, I like that. Yeah.
I don't know. And the next time you're doing this, there's going to be like 3 or 4 more changes. It is no longer as simple as it used to be.
Okay.
But that's the unfortunate reality of just Scythe being so rigid. It doesn't want to break. I need to break Scythe, but it refuses to bend.
Yeah, it just. Overall, I think I'd rather play normal Scythe over what we played yesterday, just because I understand it more. I'm just not sure what's going on with this new version. It's not like terrible. I'm just like kind of confused like what the identity is.
But I mean, hey, that's our results. So yeah.